everyone, thank you so much for watching this video. I did a video back in February where I did an angel card reading for the United States of America 2022, and now I actually found my tarot cards. When I did the angel card reading, I didn't know where my tarot cards were. I'm much more familiar with tarot cards than angel cards, and so now I want to do a tarot card reading for 2022, except since we're halfway through 2022 at this point, I want to do a tarot card reading for the second half of 2022. So those are the months of July, which today is July 7th, July, August, September, October, November, December. So this is going to be a tarot card reading for these next 6 months. This is going to be a localized reading for the United States of America. I find it easier to just somewhat localize a reading versus trying to take a tarot reading for the whole world. Now, I do want to say just a disclaimer that I do not consider myself to be a psychic. I have been reading tarot cards for a really long time for myself, and I'm pretty much familiar with every single card. That being said, yes, I'm not a psychic. I could be wrong. This video is for entertainment purposes only, but let me take a shot at this and attempt to do a reading for the second half of 2022. So without further ado, I've got my cards right here. These are traditional Rider-Waite tarot cards, and I'm going to shuffle the deck. And as I shuffle the deck, I'm really wanting to focus on the question that I'm asking. So in this case, I'm going to start off, I've got 2 questions that I want to ask, and the first one is basically, what is the energy for the next 6 months in the United States of America? So what is the energy? So I'm shuffling, and sometimes when I first started doing tarot, I would do the shuffle 3 times and then make piles, and now though, I actually will just shuffle for as long as I feel like it takes for me to feel like I'm tapping into the energy. So bear with me, let me just kind of speak as I'm doing this. Okay, so I'm shuffling right now. This card that I'm going to pull out is going to represent the energy of the next 6 months in the United States of America. Country is maybe difficult to take a tarot for because it's a whole country, but as a country, what's the energy we're approaching in these next 6 months? The last half of 2022. Spirit, please tell me about the energy. Okay. Last half of 2022. Okay. Last half of 2022. So, I got the King of Swords upside down. So, okay, let me just, like I said, I'm not a psychic, but let me try to interpret this, and I'm kind of gonna throw out different things. So, the King of Swords, well, when it comes to Minor Arcana, and Minor Arcana are the cards that are either swords, cups, pentacles, or wands. Wands are spiritual, pentacles are financial, money, or just real tangible things. Swords are thoughts, and cups are emotions. So I got the King of Swords upside down. So based off what I just said, swords are thoughts. So there's a real emphasis on mental, okay? King, you know, I think that's kind of self-explanatory. King is, you know, it's the king, the leader. So if I just take that and I say the leader of thoughts upside down, things that I could see this meaning are, I mean, I guess the first thing that comes to my head is the president of the country, because I'm talking about the United States of America. And I'm not saying this is right, I'm not a psychic, but these are possible interpretations. The king, that could be the president, the leader of the country, is mentally upside down. And I don't want to say anything because I don't know, and I'm not here to like even get political or be rude at all or anything, but I guess what that, like, the first thoughts that are kind of coming to mind are, there's something wrong with the mind of the president. Okay, I could totally be wrong though. Let me shout out other ideas of what I think it could mean. Instead of the president, it could just be, you know, us as a whole country, like our thoughts. And our thoughts as a country are upside down. We're having trouble as a country thinking. Maybe that means leadership-wise, and not just leadership-wise, but when we think of a country, like what to do and how to make decisions, that we're not having clarity. As a country, we're not having clarity. Another thing that this could mean would be, and these are all just different ideas, again, I'm not a psychic, so I'm not here to say that it is about the president. It could easily not be about the president. I don't know. But king, I say that could just be like, well, I'm kind of gonna keep looking at the card. There's a blue sky with only a few clouds in it. So maybe there's a bit of cloudiness. And because we got a swords card upside down, there's basically the big thing that I do think this card is saying, and again, I'm not a psychic, I could be wrong. I could be wrong about everything. I could even be wrong, you know, interpreting. That being said, I do know the cards pretty well. I do know that what it, you know, what if you were to do an internet search, what it would say about this card, King of Swords upside down. Okay, so I actually said I was only going to pull 2 cards, but I actually want a clarity card because I do feel like, I'm not exactly sure. So let's actually just take one more card that's a clarity card, and this is just going to go with like, Spirit, what are you telling me about the next 6 months in the United States of America? You know, I pulled King of Swords upside down, Spirit, shuffling, Spirit, what do you mean? Are we as a country, we as a people, our thoughts are unclear? What do you mean? Can you give me a little more insight, Spirit, into me pulling that card, what that card meant? And just in general, actually, I'm just going to kind of repeat the question. Tell me about this next 6 months, the vibe of the next 6 months here in the United States of America. Okay. Wow. Oh my gosh. Okay. So this is very interesting. I got the 6 of Swords upside down. And I'm not showing the card just because I'm not sure our card's copyrighted. I don't know, so that's the only reason I'm not showing the card, but it is the 6 of Swords upside down. You can do an internet search and see the card. So 6 of Swords, I'm using Rider-Waite tarot cards. So the 6 of Swords upside down. Okay, so this is a card of travel. This is a card of leaving. Usually it's about leaving a difficult place. And it can kind of be positive that it's moving towards a more positive space, but at the same time you see in this card that there are choppy waters, and then perhaps the person is moving to more calm waters. But either way, they're gonna have to wade through choppy waters to get there. The people in this card all have their back to us. So, and it's a mental card, it's swords. So again, mental. So I'm definitely, you know, I asked for clarification, and by the way, I don't want to make this video too long, so I'm going to try to keep going, but basically what I'm getting is mental upside down thoughts. These are thoughts that are not working. It's not, I'm really getting that there's not clarity of thought. Are we as a whole country, all of us confused? Are our leaders confused? You know, I'm not going to say any of my political beliefs. I don't know what, you know, the people watching this video, your political beliefs are. I'm just not going there. I also don't consider myself a psychic, so I'm not going to try to guess, but I am getting the energy, and maybe this could be even people aren't agreeing on thoughts in our country. That's a very easy thing to say. I'm sure that's like true anyway. A lot of people don't agree on things. But this is serious, you know, that I've pulled Swords upside down twice. So I'm really getting this message that thoughts are not clear. And there's this card, the 6 of Wands, sorry, no, not 6 of Wands, 6 of Swords that is upside down. These people are leaving. They're leaving a situation. And usually the 6 of Swords is they're leaving an upsetting situation. So but it's upside down. So an inability to get away from difficult feelings, maybe an inability for us as a country to get away from lack of clarity of thoughts. Okay, all right, I don't know, I still feel very confused, but I did want to ask another question, and that question is going to be, what is advice from Spirit? And for me, I do consider tarot to be a positive thing. I know sometimes that people see tarot as that's negative or it's devilish. I actually don't believe that at all. I think tarot can be very positive. So I'm going to ask Spirit, what is advice for people living in the United States of America kind of need to know, or not exactly need to know, what advice would you give people living in the United States of America to do as best can in this next 6 months? Okay. I'm shuffling. So Spirit, what can people in the United States of America do to make the best of these next 6 months? This is July through December 2022. Spirit, what advice do you have for us people living in the United States of America? Okay, wow, so this is interesting. I pulled the Empress card. And what's interesting about the Empress as opposed to the first two cards I pulled is that the Empress is major arcana. Now, I've actually heard it be said in tarot that if you pull a minor arcana card, that it is not fact, it doesn't have to be that way. It's basically, if it's minor arcana, how things will be if nothing changes. But if things change, then maybe it really won't apply at all. Now, when you get a major arcana card, that actually, what I've heard be said is that means it's destiny. So it's very interesting that when I asked Spirit for advice for people living in the United States of America to have the best time possible in the next 6 months, I got the Empress card. So the Empress is a pretty positive card. I think it's a positive card. It's, you know, a very strong woman. She's Empress. You know, there's also the Emperor card. So her and her Emperor, they run, you know, they're leaders. So I guess, gosh, as I say that, leaders, I guess what arose in my mind was maybe people should try to be their own leaders. Maybe don't necessarily always look to the government so much. Try to be your own leader. Again, I'm not a psychic. I don't know that that's right, but that's actually something that just came to my mind. They start to say leadership, right? It's interesting because actually when I look at the Empress right here, she's got a crown which has all these stars on them. And it reminds me of the Statue of Liberty. And actually she's holding up a wand that also kind of reminds me of the Statue of Liberty. Also, when I see that she's holding up what I think is a wand, that's spiritual. Wands are spiritual. So what I'm getting from this as a message, as advice from Spirit, would be to look to your own leadership and to think spiritually. I don't see any pentacles. No pentacles have come up. So I know, you know, pentacles represent a lot of the times money, but also just tangible, real life things. But because I haven't seen any pentacles, it's kind of like, it's not about that. It's not about the money. It's not about these objects. This is spiritual. So I kind of think that for advice, this would be think spiritually, perhaps be in touch with your emotions, and trust your own leadership. I'm gonna pull a clarifying card. For advice, Spirit, the advice that you're giving to the people of the United States of America, living in the United States of America, your advice for us for the next 6 months, how for us to have the best possible time. Can you clarify? You gave the Empress as a card. What else do we need to know? Okay, so I got the Fool upside down, which is also super interesting because that's another major arcana card. So when I'm asking for advice, there's something about destiny, right? The Fool, it shows, you know, on the card it shows a picture of the Fool right up to the edge of a cliff, and he doesn't have a care in the world. Well, he could fall off the cliff. So the Fool's a bit foolish, and he's actually card 0 of the major arcana. So he's not wise, right? The Fool is not wise. And here the card is reversed. So advice from this card would be, first of all, I'm just thinking be careful, because first thing that stood out to me is he's on the edge of a cliff. So be careful. It's also upside down, so maybe it is saying as well, don't try to be too wise. Don't think that you know it all. Don't think that you have figured out everything and that you're just so wise, you know it all. Try to think a bit from the beginning before you learned everything you thought you know, what you would think. I'm also right now seeing that the Fool has a dog next to him, and the dog is barking. So I don't know if maybe that kind of says to me, be in communication with nature, and maybe to see what are the animals doing is what comes to my mind. And think about not just humans, but that the whole, like how the whole world, well, this is the United States of America, how the whole country operates, including not just the people, but the animals. But I don't know. This is such a tough reading. I'm not exactly sure, but I am gonna post this video. I did a reading before and I was like, I didn't quite want to post it. But anyway, thank you so much for listening to this video. Hopefully, you know, I guess when these next 6 months are over, maybe I'll have to make another video kind of reviewing what I thought after knowing what the future will be, what these cards were kind of pointing towards. Again, little disclaimer, I am not a psychic. I don't know. I could also be wrong. I'm not that conceited to think I'm completely right, but I do believe in tarot cards, and so I thought that was very interesting. Thanks so much for watching.